Georgia Civic Math Part 2. Last time we talked about Georgia as a colony, but today we focus on something different: the people behind the decision. Georgia had only three representatives. They were Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton, three individuals representing an entire colony. Now let's do the math. But before, let's examine these three gentlemen. Button Gwinnett was born March 3, 1735, in Gloucester, England. He died on May 19th, 1777, in Savannah, Georgia. He moved to America in 1762 with his wife, Anne Byrne, and his three daughters. He settled first in Newfoundland and then moved to Jamaica. Started some businesses, didn't work very well, but he came back and settled in Georgia. He signed the Declaration of Independence. He was Speaker of Georgia State Assembly. What's interesting about Gwinnett is he signed very little documents. Therefore, his signatures are sought by collectors, especially those collecting signatures from the leaders who signed the Declaration of Independence. His signatures are very rare. Therefore, getting them is just like really difficult. And due to their rarity, they are very expensive. A letter signed by Gwinnett sold for $51,000 in 1927. Just think about that. 51,000 in 1927. Now, in 1979, a receipt signed by same gentleman, Gwinnett, sold for $100,000. So this is a gentleman who signed very little things, and people who are collecting signatures are still having a hard time getting his signatures. So that's one of the interesting thing about this gentleman. The second gentleman was Lyman Hall. He was born January 7, 1724, in Wallingford, Connecticut. He died October 19th, 1790, in Burke County, Georgia. He graduated from Yale in 1747. He was a delegate to the Continental Congress in 1775. And of course, he signed the Declaration of Independence as one of the four doctors to do so. Now, out of the 56 folks, again, who signed, only four were doctors. Among them, of course, was Lyman Hall. And then the other folks were Benjamin Rush from Pennsylvania, Joshua Bartlett from New Hampshire, and Matthew Taunton, again from New Hampshire. Those were the four doctors. So that was Lyman Hall, Benjamin Rush, Joshua Bartlett, and Matthew Taunton. So out of the 56, only four were doctors. So roughly about 7% of the folks who signed. But let's get back to Georgia. The last gentleman that was also a political figure in Georgia politics back in 1776 was George Walton. He was born circa 1749 in Cumberland County, Virginia. He died February 2nd, 1804, in Augusta, Georgia. These are the key offices that he held. In 1776, of course, he was a delegate to the Second Continental Congress. In 1779, he was governor of Georgia. In 1780, he was U.S. Congress. 1783, he was Chief Justice of Georgia. In 1793, he was U.S. Senator. So Georgia had about a population of roughly 40,000 people. Three delegates. So that's roughly 13,000 people per delegate. So think about that. One person representing 13,000 people. Now let's go deeper. Inside Georgia, those three men had to agree on one decision. Three voices, but only one vote. So what does that mean? At least two had to agree. Two out of three to decide for 40,000 people. Now, bring back the risk. Georgia sat right next to British Florida, closer to danger, fewer people, less protection, and yet three men carrying the risk of 40,000 people. Now, think about time. It took anywhere from 34 to 43 days to cover 850 miles. So that was from Savannah to Philadelphia. That was a one way. So if it's round trip, we talk about 70 to 80 days is round trip. So they were deciding with delays, with limited information, and still, when the moment came, all three signed. No hesitation, no division, three signatures, one decision. History remembers colonies, but decisions are made by people. In Georgia, three individuals carried the weight of a colony and chose independence. Now, I want to ask you something. If you were one of these three, knowing the risk, knowing the uncertainty, would you have signed? Drop your answer in the comments. If you are seeing how math explains history, make sure you subscribe and share this with one person because one person becomes two, and that is how we grow. I'll see you in the next episode. This is Kitame Learning. Thank you for watching.